When you hit the up button on your Roku remote, it goes down. When you hit left, it goes right. When you hit enter, nothing happens. The volume buttons may or may not work, and sometimes when you hit the buttons, it goes 10 icons past where you intended it to. Don't worry, that's a sure sign that you have moisture inside of your remote, and I can show you exactly how to fix that right now. Now, this is like a 3 or 4 minute job, and you don't need a lot of tools. All you're gonna need are just a couple Q-tips, a paper towel, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and a tiny little tool with a flat bit at the end of it. It can be a flathead screwdriver or a little tiny bit driver like I have here for taking apart electronics. I got this one for $7 at Harbor Freight, the best $7 I've ever spent at that store. And basically all you're gonna do is remove the batteries to get started. Make sure those are out because we have to take apart this remote. And we're gonna work along the battery side here where that little seam is. And go ahead and take your little tool and put it right inside firmly and then start to twist it. And you're gonna pry open that battery side of the remote and you're gonna work your way all the way around that. And what you're gonna basically wanna do is get a little separation to where you can start to jam your fingers in that separation and then work that tool towards the front of the remote where the lens is and everything's gonna pop apart. Now, what I found to be the problem with the remotes when they start acting this way, where you hit the up button and it goes down, right, and it goes left, enter sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, and sometimes it just ghosts and skips ahead 5 icons where you didn't want it to. There's moisture on the inside of the remote. That can happen from sweat. If you're on the treadmill and holding this remote, that sweat can get in there. If somebody spills a drink on it, that can happen as well. So we're gonna clean out that moisture. It's gonna be super easy. Once everything pops apart, as you can see here, we're going to have the circuit board on the right side. And on the left, we're going to have the rubber pad that you're used to touching. And then there's going to be a little plastic sheet that you can see here with little dimples on it. And that sits in between the rubber pad and the circuit board. So you're probably going to see a lot of moisture on the inside. That's not supposed to be there. So go ahead and take your Q-tip, get it wet with some rubbing alcohol. And you're just gonna go to town on the rubber pad, taking extra care to get inside around the enter button, which has a big recess there. Just clean out any of the dirt, debris, grit, grime, sweat, water, whatever's in there. Mix that rubbing alcohol with it. It's gonna help the moisture evaporate out faster, and it's gonna sterilize and clean everything on the inside and get it looking nice and ready for proper contacts when you put it back together. Go ahead and get the other side of the Q-tip wet and get to work on the circuit board as well. With the batteries out, this will not harm anything. And just go ahead and wipe everything down. Make sure that everything gets cleaned out and that there's no sweat, anything like that on there that can kind of disrupt a connection. And finally, get the Q-tip, get another Q-tip wet and get to work on the plastic sheet that has the little dimples on it. And once again, this sits between the rubber pad and the circuit board, and it needs to be absolutely clean and dry. So once that is done, take the paper towel and dry everything off. Dry the plastic sheet off with the little dimples, dry off the circuit board, and then dry off the rubber pad. And once again, take extra care to dry out all of the rubbing alcohol that's around the enter button. You might have to blow on it a few times to get that to evaporate, but you want to make sure that that is completely dry before we put everything back together. Take the rubber pad and push it through the housing on that side of the remote so that all the buttons stick through like they're supposed to. If the volume buttons fall out at any point, they just click right back in place, no problem. Same with the lens at the front end of the remote. And the plastic sheet has the dimples, and you'll feel that they stick up on one side and they don't on the other. Make sure that they stick up facing up. So lay that so that they're facing up on top of the circuit board, and there's little posts on the circuit board that stick through that plastic sheet so it kind of clicks right in place. You can't misalign it. Once everything is perfectly aligned, just take both halves of the remote, push them together firmly, and everything will click back in place. Just even pressure all the way around and everything will click. Once that is done, throw in your 2 AAA batteries, point it at your TV, turn it on. You're going to find that everything works absolutely perfectly, and you can get back to watching your favorite YouTube channel or Netflix series. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.